And obviously you guys still retain a fair degree of mateship after all those years, obviously, but you can sense it here today.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
You share. I think you share too much time, and I don't know, too many. I guess special memories over the years. Like, well, I played for 8 years for the Kookaburras, or 7 or 8 years, and these guys probably both for longer. I'm not sure, but you see a lot of the world, and you travel a lot together, and live together for a lot of the time, and do some of the most amazing things you, I guess, do not only your sporting career but your life. So, yeah, it's good to have a beer and discuss, try and solve the problems of the world of hockey sometimes.
Always good having a beer at the end of a tournament. I think that was one thing we were very part of our culture. You know, we were able to have a break at the end and sit down and enjoy a beer and have a chat about it, no matter how the tournament went. And
you usually took your holidays from work to go and play hockey, so you want to enjoy at least some of it. Not in a different way. You want to relax a fair bit, opposed to being in a competition mode.
Well, just on that, tell us about the celebrations after Athens. I mean, there's a legend, or a story goes around that Jamie walked back into the village at 10 o'clock the next morning, still in his full playing kit. Is there any truth to that?
I remember seeing him in the village. Might have been pretty early in the morning. Yeah, that was pretty special. I think that's why it'll be difficult to watch the next one. I think the guys are going to go close to winning again. They should win it, I think. You'd love to be part of that, but I think that last 10 minutes of that game, the final, I'd love to play that again. And it was just that deep down, I knew we were going to win that game. We had the Dutchies on their knees. There was just that real sense of belief that they weren't going to win.
Well, just on that final, I mean, Australia won their first Olympic medal in '64, bronze in Tokyo. They were favourites for Mexico the following year, and were often favourites. I mean, were you actually conscious of the huge pressure on the eternal bridesmaids? I mean, was that a factor?
It was always discussed. Yeah, it was always brought up from year. It's history. It's been brought up, passed on through the generations, but it was something you always tried to come up with some sort of strategy to minimise the impact that probably people can put, or someone could say or do, or totally different people from year to year, or Olympics. So it's, I don't know how to explain it, but
I think what it really meant when it all it was sure, a monkey's off your back and whatever we talked about that, we discussed that, but I think at the end of it, what really shone was all the past players, all the guys that had a crack at it and hadn't quite got there, all the messages that we got from those guys, all the messages, they're in tears, they're all crying and all drunk and emotional, I imagine. But at the Olympics, I think the first two guys I ran into off the field walking off was David Bell and Mark Hagar, who were both obviously coaching the women's side at that stage. Both of them in tears. That I guess finally we'd done it. A team had won the gold medal.
I think you're a kookaburra, like you've made the team, you're a kookaburra, and you'll forever feel a part of that team. It doesn't matter who's playing, these young guys now, I still feel like, you'd be there, you know what it's like, and you know what they're going to go through, you know that you would love to be there, and you're still playing every play, although you don't often own up to it, but you're still doing it.
You still think you're good enough, and you could be out there ahead of someone as well, I suppose.
But I think it is a club in a way that you feel you never ever don't feel like a part of it. If you know what I mean, and you just try and stay involved in it.
We're pretty lucky too. We've got half the team they're going to play. Half the boys that we've all played with, they're all the guys still there, and I guess so we're still pretty close to them. And you feel like there is that close link still to the team.
So go back 15 years, Stephen, you do it all again?
Definitely.
No hesitation.
No hesitation at all. No regrets at all. Obviously, missing the Athens team was a huge disappointment, but I don't know that I'd change that neither, because it probably developed me a lot as a player and made me realise what I needed to do, or I need to do more to become the player I did become, to go to Beijing. But no regrets, and definitely do it again. Definitely.
And the experience of being a kookaburra, you're running your own business now. The things that you were taught about as a hockey player, you've taken into business?
Yeah, certainly. A lot of things that I think Barry Dancer as a coach was about was team orientated activities, just working as a team, mateship, all those sorts of things. Obviously work's a little bit different, but not hugely. You're still trying to, I guess,
Creating a productive environment.
yeah, and trying to inspire, or not necessarily inspire, but get guys to work hard and to work together to achieve a goal that, I guess, it's not so much a 4-yearly or 2-yearly goal anymore. It's more a day-to-day, week-to-week goal, but it's still a goal that I guess I'm trying to achieve, and I'm trying to achieve it with people. It's not an individual goal still at the moment.
Guys, we've spoken a lot about your careers. The next 10 years for Australian hockey, where do we need to head? Indian Premier League's up and running. It'll go again next year and be endorsed by FAH. What needs to be done at home?
Tough question. Very tough question.
Lanco Super Series, it was held in Perth, Rick Charlesworth idea. Do you see any benefit in that? 9-a-side hockey.
It's a concept game, you know, it's something different. Whether it'll take off and get bigger, I'm not sure. But
I think you need to cut the world in half and make it a bit shorter distance between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, and we may, you know, have a chance. Or there's, you know, more money that could be pumped into the game that you can attract more tournaments in Australia.
Yeah,
I think the profile of the hockey needs the international stuff, and to do that you need money to get them to come here.
you hate talking about it, but at the end of the day, it comes down to money and dollars, you know. And there's big incentives for guys to go overseas. A lot of the guys have been to Holland and played in Holland because they can make good money. And now there's the Indian Hockey League. It's even more money, and that's supposed to get bigger, and it's going to take off more. It's going to entice more of the marquee players to go.
What we're at risk of is that the competition within Australia is going to lack, because the players aren't going to go away and come back and be able to play at the same time in our competitions within these leagues.
I think it'll become, I guess, probably a bit more of a battle for hockey in Australia, because what we're seeing on the training pitch out there at the moment is no international players. Where you take back 4 years, we had 6 of us, I think, out there, and if we take the guys and they're playing in, we've always battled for the last 4 years with guys playing in Holland, fitting that in within national, with National Hockey League, but now you put in the Dutch competition and an Indian Hockey League, then it's certainly going to make things tough in Australia to probably more at a grassroots level. I'm thinking.
I think need to work with it rather than against it, to use that tool, that facility. You know, they are getting money to play. They, you know, that they could. You want to attract them back into Australia. Maybe it's a shift in our competition to sort of work in with theirs, so that they can play in both, and we want to play in both. Give them the chance to.
The benefits of it are they're playing more hockey, but they're playing top level hockey, but they're also learning different styles and different ways that other nations play. It gives you a better insight and a better understanding of the game. So, you know, when you come back and play for Australia and you play in big major tournaments, you have a better understanding of your opposition. I know that, you know, we got that when Troy was playing in Holland. There was Brent Livermore was in Holland. There was a number of guys playing over there. Jamie. Anyway, from their experience there, they give us insight into what the Dutch do. What are some of the targets they've got in their game, their style of game. So it's good. There's benefits, but again, it's
future-wise, you need to have more hockey in Australia.
There's some obvious benefits in the centralised AIS program in Perth, but going forward, do we need to explore ways of decentralising that so we do get the top players back playing in their home states? I mean, Matthew, I'm suggesting you might have gone 7 or 8 years without playing a club game in Tasmania.
Yeah, I actually play one club match a year in Tassie. I made sure I always went back for one club match, and that was just, I don't know, it was just something I did. I'm fortunate to get back at the right times, but it's a lot harder now for them to do. I mean, if it's me,
the success of the team though,
yeah,
would be like having a centralised program. The team play, like the players themselves get the level of knowledge of each other by being together. If you break that up, it's sort of a double-edged sword. You don't have the development in the other areas, but you also detract from what you can probably do.
Even if we did something like around in non-Olympic year, accepting Olympic years are different, in over the AHL period, if all players dispersed from Perth and were in their home states for the 3 weeks leading up to it or the 4 weeks leading up to it, played club games, is that practical?
Well, look, there's opportunity, and it might be with only a couple of guys. It's something we look at, trying to get the guys back here a week before AHL. But the hardest thing with that is you're taking guys out of a work environment and they can't afford to take time off work. They've already used their holidays up.
They've got to work to pay their bills.
Pay their bills, they've got to work to live. You know, hockey doesn't pay their bills.
Gets back to money.
Yeah, it does. So again, if there was enough money in hockey in Australia that the guys could become full-time paid and make a living, and you know, it was good money, then definitely. There's no reason why they couldn't do that.
There's a lot of people talking about it, like money wasn't there when you were playing, it's not there now. There's a lot of people have discussed it over the years. What is it? What will attract the sport? Where's the money going to come from? What does hockey need to do to get attractive? You know, we're on TV now, you know.
Well, Tom, there's more money there now than there was, you know, 4 years ago, and that's through success. The guys, you know, the success they've got, but a lot of the money that they get is government funded. So the government's a big major sponsor of hockey in Australia.
I think it's been
but
great.
They now have a sponsor, you know, who's been able to chip in and help out as well. So that certainly makes things a bit easier for the guys. But
it's
again,
an international game.
Yeah.
The best hockey is the international game, so it's hard to market that game when you're not actually playing in Australia as well. So that probably makes a big difference to what you can do corporate-wise. You know, Champions Trophies and things are great, and you see the crowds come out and the money's there to run the actual tournament, but it's one every how many, 4 years, 5 years maybe. I mean, I played one in Australia, one Champions Trophy.
No comments, Stephen?
No, I was just going to say, I think it's great to see the guys with sort of sponsors on their shirts now. I mean, my entire career we've never had a sponsor on the front of our shirt, which was disappointing. But so they're obviously taking some steps forward, but as far as significant change in near time, I don't know. I'd probably.
It's a tough one when a team that's won a gold medal, it's won a World Cup. You know, and this is sort of in the last sort of 8 years, particularly in the last. They haven't lost a major tournament in the last 4 years. They've won every single major tournament. What more does a team, a group of guys, you know, have to do? And I guess that's the disappointing thing. And it's just the nature of the sport. I think hockey's, you know, doesn't attract. It's been like that for some time, and I know they're getting better at it. Certainly, like I said, there is a name on the shirt now where it's been a while coming. Hopefully it does pick up, you know, and hopefully success in London will certainly help that out as well.